Greetings, Canadians, and welcome to a bare bones basic guide to Aran. And in this video, we'll be only covering basics such as basic mobility concept, toggles, what skills to boost in the V matrix, what hyper passive skills to pick, how to use certain key skills, and what skills are used in our mini and full bursts. And as the title and intro applies, we will be only doing the bare bones coverage on the noted topic for this specific video. I'm hoping to at least get the more in-depth guide on Aran's for its remaster out within at least 2 to 4 weeks to make sure I at least cover as much as possible while explaining as much as possible as well to ensure that I don't miss anything. And if you wish to read such details and not wait for my video, please consider joining the Aran Discord, which I will have linked in the description. And if you do join the Discord, please keep the discussion and topics specific to your respective chat rooms, as asking questions randomly helps no one other than looking... it doesn't help others who are already looking in the Q&A section for questions specifically when they're all thrown around it randomly. So, to get us started, as mentioned, the first topic we'll be covering is basic mobility concept. Aran's mobility more or less did not change. It technically got buffed slightly. But as for first job, that's where most of our mobility comes from. The first of which is Smash Swing. Smash Swing and Arrow Swing before Remaster had become one singular skill now. So Smash Swing is essentially just this skill. You can hold it down, you can tap it, but the key highlight for this mobility is simply by holding left or right while using it will move us as well. And you can use it with Final Toss, which Final Toss is our up jump. So to use Final Toss, you could do up jump. I mean up attack. But it is recommended to either test it out to your own leisure, English. Either do up attack or to use the hotkey. If you look closely, this is where up attack is. I am slightly above that roof wall thingy. And if I use the hotkey, oh look, yeah, it's way lower, but you can also still double tap it. But in terms of people who really want to maximize its potential, you could try and do a combination of the two, but honestly, it's better to just to use the arrow, the inputs, which is just up attack. A lot more control. And back to what I mentioned previously, Arrow Swing and Smash Swing are now one thing. Smash Swing can be used with Final Toss. So, as you can see. And as you can also see that I'm doing some air stalls. That comes from the built-in function. I believe it's later in one of the skills, but essentially Smash Swing, when activated in the air, even when not hitting a target, you will maintain height. And as you can see, that doesn't last that long. But if you're hitting a target, you can actually stall it a little bit more. So if you're fighting a boss, you can use that to your advantage. Or if you don't need that, you can always make sure that you're fighting the boss and not directly on top of it. And the last of our mobility skills for first job specifically is Final Charge. Final Charge, you can either do hotkey, which I remember correctly is down, right, down, right, down attack. Yeah, it's still the same. So it's either down, right attack, but I have it locked because I don't like it. I use a hotkey specifically. So you can just use this. Do be careful though, you can actually accidentally use this to cancel Beyond Blade, and honestly this is the dumbest update they've done for that. You can easily get yourself killed with it, as for example, use Beyond Blade and cancel it immediately. You can't use the charge anymore for 3 seconds, which is stupid. I like having the skill constantly up for mobility, which is very good to have. And another thing you can do with the first job mobility skills is combine a few. For example, you can... Oh, I forgot to mention Dash. Dash, which is our combat step. You can either hotkey it or use the arrow keys. I have both. I use it depending on what I need. The hotkey for instant reaction, command input for when it's needed to have no stress on that time period. But back to the combination point, you can use combat step and Final Toss together. The momentum carries over, which is pretty good. You can do a lot of stupid air stall things like that. Oh, and another thing, Final Toss can only be used twice in a row if you start from the floor. If I jump, I can't use it again. And the other mobility skill, if I recall, should be Judgment Draw. Judgment Draw, I have it hotkeyed. It counts as mobility. You can do this now. You can do this now. It's not really important. Although in boss maps with ledges, you can actually ledge grab with it. And for some reason, to my knowledge, of other Arans, quote me on this or correct me on this, I think they increased the ledge grab distance. You can go for certain further distance to actually grab it. Yeah. And with that being said, that covers mobility in its basics. I will cover a little bit more advanced stuff in the in-depth video, so give me some time on that video. The next one we have are the toggles. Our toggles are the following. We got Drain and Snow Charge. Drain is our recovery skill with 1% max HP being healed every single time you do an attack. And Snow Charge is our abnormal status resistance, which is the reason why we have the abnormal status attacking inner ability. To turn them on, all you gotta do is press the toggles. I have them saved to my favorites because I like to make sure all my toggles are active. That way if I don't see them there, I know they're off. And the way it works is Snow Charge, quite literally, it just slows down enemies and they take 10% extra damage when they have the slow charge. You can tell if they have it if they're slightly bluer. Oh no, I think they changed it. Oh, they changed it completely to just a debuff. I missed it when it was this blue. But obviously, this is a static target. It doesn't move, so you can't really see it. But the effect still happens with the 10% damage, so that is good. That's what we need. And that's pretty much just a short and sweet, the toggles. There's really nothing advanced to cover it. Oh, except for the fact that the Drain works everywhere except for P2 Will and Hard Vhilla. The only way they work in those specific bosses in those stages are if you have Moonlight in P2 for Will, and if you Cleansed in Vhilla. And yes, they actually Drain does work in Black Mage in all the phases if you have the Black Curse. It heals, which is great. And as for skills to boost in the V Matrix, the skills you boost are the following: Final Attack, Finisher Hunter Prey, Hyper Finisher Last Stand, Smash Swing and Permafrost, and Adrenaline Rush and Overload. If anyone actually is curious about the reason why we boost Smash Swing, it's merely because if you look at the last part, it says Smash Swing and Permafrost. Permafrost is our new summon skill. I hate it. But it still does around a decent amount of damage, between like 1% to 2%. So damage is damage. And the last of the which that we boost is Beyond Blade, obviously, because this is our primary bossing and mobbing skill. If anyone doesn't want to go back and hear me ramble about that one, please go to the description. I will have most, if not a majority of these key points highlighted in the description along with their timestamps. So we have that, which that pretty much covers that. And as for what hyper passives that we use are the following. You will use all three of the Beyond Blade hypers, which is Beyond their Blade, that's a stupid name, Beyond Blade Barrage, and Piercing Beyond Blade. And the last two, although this is a little bit more of a debate currently, this needs way more tests, but currently, as of now, I will update this in the description, is that the Finisher Reinforced. This is for extra damage, 30% extra damage for Hunter's Prey, and also for the Hyper Finisher skills. We're still testing this to see whether or not it's actually better to use this hyper passive or for the IED aspect of it, as Aran has a lot of built-in IED already. So the information might change. And then the last one that we use is Surging Adrenaline. This is mandatory, because as you can see, level 1 required to learn Adrenaline Surge. Yeah, another skill is literally locked behind this requirement. So you kind of have no choice. Congratulations. GMS is just terrible at designing stuff. And how to use certain key skills. That's the next one. Pretty much all the command inputs. Command inputs is down right or down left attack if you want to change directions. I just had this on a hotkey. Final toss is simply up attack. And remember, these command inputs are unique to Aran in the sense that you do not press all the buttons at the same time. If it requires like 4 buttons, you don't. You do them in order. So as I mentioned, final toss is the easy one. It's up attack, so up and attack. You can actually input it at a pretty lengthy delay. So do take note that you have to disengage them if you're trying to not use a skill. For example, if I do up and I don't want to use the actual skill, I use something else. Like you Beyond Blade, and then I press attack again, it's disengage. You will have to either incorrectly input it to something that doesn't exist, or disengage it with another skill entirely. But that's that. As for our second job skills, you have nothing of importance. Beyond Blade is just something to hold it down. As for the third one, we got Judgment Draw, which is up, right, or up, left attack, depending which direction that you want. I use this for mobility and just in regular areas so I can ledge grab if I want to improve my mobility. Permafrost is our summon skill. This one is down attack. I'm going to cover the hitbox on this thing later. All you got to know is that this thing sucks. And Adrenaline Rush. I will cover this at the later bit because I will have to wait a whole 90 seconds in between cooldowns, so I can't showcase the rest. So, fourth job, we have Hunter's Prey and Glacial Prison. Glacial Prison is our new bind skill. They just separated from this, the bind aspect from Blizzard Tempest into its own specific skill. Oh, and the good thing is, we can actually use it midair. So this one is, I believe, up-down attack, so yeah, you can use it in the air. And how you know it's in effect is if you have this blue animation. I will give them that, it actually looks pretty decent. But yeah, that's how you use Glacial Prison, our new bind skill. And then Hunter's Prey is either down-right down attack to go right, and down-left down attack to go left. And don't worry, if you get this wrong, you can still aim left or right if you don't let go of either the hotkey or the attack button. And as of the recent update, well, the specific update for this remaster, there's no benefit for using the command inputs except for keyboard clearance. As you can tell, my keyboard is... yeah, I have chairs and stuff on there. That's my own fault. But yeah. You can choose to either use the command inputs or not use the command inputs depending on whether or not you like it. For example, Hunter's Prey, I use it because I don't really care for having to need it immediately. But I do have it on my hotkey in case there's an oh god, oh crap moment. I need to activate the iframe part of my burst right away. So there's that. As for the Adrenaline Overload, which I've been calling Hyper Adrenaline because it's required to activate your Hyper Finisher skills, the way to use the skill is it has a 3-minute cooldown, so this will be specific to our full bursts and origin bursts. So while you're attacking, you will either have to do 10 hits with Beyond Blade while in regular Adrenaline Rush, or you can use Maha's Carnage, which is a 5th job skill, or Hunter's Prey, which will charge up it either majority or all the way. And if you go to the 3rd job skill, Adrenaline Rush Active, which is a key component of it, once the gauge is full, you'll see another secondary gauge being filled up. Once it's full, you press the Adrenaline Rush Activate skill again to get put into Adrenaline Overload or Hyper Adrenaline. And then once you're in Hyper Adrenaline, you'll be able to activate Hyper Finisher Last Stand and the 5th job skill, Adrenaline Surge. Adrenaline Surge is easy enough to use. You can do up attack to activate it, or you can just press the button. Yeah. And I prefer to just use the up attack because my keyboard's already full. I do have them on my keyboard, but I mostly just keep them there so I know if I use them or not because Aran's burst is a little bit jumbled. And that was Adobe. Shut up, Adobe. I do not need to update you. And the other input skills are... if people are confused, the way this last Beyond Blade skill works, it's quite literally the last animation. You gotta go through all the first 3 animations of Beyond Blade to get to the last one, same as usual from beforehand. And the last skill would be Maha's Carnage, which is down attack. It's simple as that. And to those who are wondering why I didn't cover Hyper Finisher Last Stand, is you just press it 3 times. Or hold it down. You will actually also need to be in Hyper Finisher. And unlike before the update, while you're in Hyper Adrenaline, you'll be able to activate both of the finisher skills. But you have to do it within 5 seconds, or else you will be outside of Hyper Adrenaline. It will turn off. And unlike this Hyper Finisher, you can actually use Adrenaline Surge while not in Hyper Adrenaline for the 90-second burst. Yeah, there's a smaller version. There's 2 versions. One for the 90 seconds, one for the full minute. And just to show you guys a basic 3-minute burst, I will also include Origin, I guess. Might as well. Okay, toggles are up. I will have I'll have a bare bones description of the burst in the description if anyone needs a static note for it rather than just see a visual. But if anyone needs a visual, this is going to be it. The way it starts is Weapon Aura, Heroic Memory, Goddess Blessing, Impenetrable Skin, the Summon, and press Adrenaline, pop U, and as you can see, the gauge is filling up on its own. Once it's full, you press Adrenaline Rush again, up attack, Last Stand, hold down the 3 buttons, and then don't forget to do Hunter's Prey. You can do all 3 at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but together. And I just realized I said I was going to do Origin, but I didn't. But it's essentially still the same thing. Once Origin is done, you would do exactly what I just did. And it's pretty much the same. Although it's just a little bit more boring, I guess. And as you can see on right here, this thing is highlighted red. That red border is the cooldown indicator for hyperadrenaline, or adrenaline overload, which is the big one that I mentioned for the 3-minute bursts. And if you look at the number, that one's also currently showing hyperadrenaline/adrenaline overload. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to show the regular adrenaline, like this one right now, but it's currently bugged, as usual. And if you didn't catch what number it was, we are at 38 seconds, I think. So you have 38 seconds of not being able to do another mini burst. Yeah, because it's a 90-second cooldown in between adrenalines. Good job, KMS. You suck. That was a terrible design. But obviously, 38 seconds is at the peak uptime if you're in a static situation. In a boss fight, you have more like anywhere from 25 to 35 seconds, depending on which boss, depending on your performance, your dodge ability. That's pretty much it. And as for our 30-second burst, once you see adrenaline back up, you can do Blizzard, Adrenaline, up attack to activate Adrenaline Surge, the small version. You can see the little tornado right there. That's it. And then you can do Hunter's Prey. I didn't do Maha's Carnage a bunch, but don't forget to do Maha's Carnage. Currently, the assumption/theory is to just constantly use it every single time it's off of its cooldown. We're gonna need to do a lot more number tests. But yeah, that's pretty much that mini burst, the full burst. Origin, as I mentioned, I'm going to have it in the description, is exactly the same as the 3-minute burst. You just do the Origin at the start. It's no longer a crazy wind-up attack. It's just running and gunning it. And since it doesn't really matter right now, I'm just going to show you what it looks like, quite literally. And Aran is officially just a single button activating for Origin. We lost all of our unique aspects to our class. Oh, another important fact is if you use the Origin and you have hyperadrenaline available, it will automatically put you in hyperadrenaline. Hence why I mentioned earlier that this hyperadrenaline/adrenaline overload is specific for our 3-minute and 6-minute bursts. And that's pretty much it, I believe. But yeah, as I mentioned, I did say there's going to be a quick and bare bones guide, although this thing is about to be 20 minutes. But as I mentioned, this is just to cover basics. I'm not going into specific detail, not doing any explaining yes or whys of this reason, explaining numbers, that's going to come later. If anyone has any basic FAQ questions that they wish to ask me, by all means, feel free to ask in the description. Ask in the comments. In the description, I will have the burst and all the other important details written down as best as I can. And if there's any common questions that people ask, I will just add it into the description underneath an FAQ section. So with that being said, if anyone has a questions, like I mentioned, in the comments, in-depth video, what I hope to have within 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how much things I wish to do and or how badly I am at organizing information. So with that being said, thanks for watching, to continue support, and I will see you guys in the next video.